Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and unfortunately, I am only joined today by one co-host and a Bruce. We have to give a shout out to Uncle Sam, who is unable to be with us today. He's on the PUP list.
He's on IR.
After his spill the other day, falling off of a 9-foot ladder and through a window. Today, unfortunately, his foot decided it was going to stop working.
He would do nothing but
It's
give
foot
me
pain?
shit.
It was a foot injury. I don't think he could drive the car to get here. So, unfortunately, Uncle Sam is not with
I
us
can't even
today.
put my foot on the pedal. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, I am joined by my one co-host, none other than our very own Mr. Solo, Mike.
You'll have to
Solo.
come back to me. I'm trying to spam this link out to anyone I know.
That's all good. And behind the decks, as always, Bruce the Tugboat Venditti.
Oh, my camera's not working. That's poop. What's going on?
Big shocker there. Big shocker there. Bruce couldn't get his own camera.
Hold on.
working for
Ready?
today. No, I don't want it. I just don't,
It's coming.
I don't want to see your face.
Oh!
And it's Honolulu Blue, ready to go. Just ready to rock tonight's game out. So,
bought this at the Silverdome.
you what?
My dad bought this at the Silverdome.
Oh, very nice. Good. It's a vintage piece. So, you all know why we're here. Tonight is arguably the most exciting night of the year in Detroit sports, I would say. It is Monday Night Football, live from Ford Field. Outside of the Chiefs game, I think, honestly, this is the game I've been most excited about so far this year. But before we get deep into that, just a couple pieces of news that we need to clean up. Number one, Leonard Fournette, running back Leonard Fournette, has signed with the Buffalo Bills today. That's a big piece of news because, as we've seen, that the Buffalo Bills have not been all that effective running the football. So James Cook is a very nice complimentary backfield mate there in Buffalo now. How much does he have left in the tank? I don't really know.
No, he's going to light it up there.
Yeah, see,
He's going to be the clear snap leader and give it 2 weeks.
So you think James Cook is just
I think that Latavius Murray broke the NFL record for its 4 straight games of red zone snaps without getting a touchdown. And I just think that's what Leonard Fournette does best is punch it in. It's an element that they've been missing. We've been talking about their red zone woes for a while. And the guy catches passes, too. Leonard Fournette catches passes.
yeah, I mean, watching him in Bucs uniform for the last forever. I mean, it was awesome. He set career records all last year, 1,200 scrimmage yards, 6 touchdowns. So obviously last year he was effective. Why he hasn't been picked up yet, I'm not sure. But it's definitely a good thing for Buffalo that Leonard Fournette is there because they really, really needed that help. Tomorrow is the NFL trade deadline. And we're going to obviously come back Wednesday and discuss what actually happened. But so far, are you hearing anything on the trade deadline front outside of the big one that happened today?
Tell us about the big one first, because I got a rant.
So, Giants defensive tackle Leonard Williams was traded.
Wait, hold on. Shout out to Tank. Tank's in the chat.
Tank's in the chat.
Shout out to Dan.
Dan's in the chat. Thank you guys for reporting on a Monday afternoon.
Couple of Arabs locking it down.
It's so nice to have you guys here. So the big trade that happened today, Giants star defensive tackle Leonard Williams, who got a massive extension in the offseason, was traded today to the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks staffers came out and said that the Seahawks are all in. They're trying to add another piece. They believe that they can win this division. And kind of after last night, that door is still open. Obviously, 49ers lost to the Bengals yesterday. So for the Seahawks to go out and add pieces at the deadline, that means they think that they could easily win this division.
It's more than that. I mean, they could win the NFC. They could put the road to the Super Bowl through one of the hardest outdoor stadiums to play. It's top 3 in terms of outdoor stadiums. is a old Lumen Field or whatever they're calling it these days.
And I mean, a kind of a steal. So Seattle sent a 2024 second and a 2025 fifth round pick back to the Giants. Honest to God, for a guy of his caliber, I have no issue with that. I think it was a great trade for Seattle. They definitely needed help with their defensive front. The thing is, I don't think Seattle's angry about that. They didn't give all that much up.
No, they didn't.
Not for somebody of his caliber. And the Giants retain most of his contract. They're going to end up paying a giant chunk of it from everything that's come out. We don't
Was
have
the
all
pun
the
intended
details.
there?
No, it wasn't, but we stay slick.
Listen, over when we were doing Quinn and Williams watch for a month and a half, and I gave my rankings early on the DTs, and in no particular order. I guess this year it would go Chris Jones number 1, Quinn and Williams number 2, Aaron Donald number 3. I put Jeffrey Simmons 4, but Leonard Williams is my number 5. And to only give up a second and a third in consecutive years for Leonard Williams, that's business. That's business. If that's the going rate for an elite tackle, Brad Holmes, I don't know why you didn't do that, and I don't know why you haven't picked up the phone yet.
I agree.
So I'm expecting the Lions better. If that's the going rate for a talent like that, I'm expecting a big splash tomorrow. If they don't make their team better, you're going to look back on this with regret. And don't say, hey, we like what we have. We're waiting for some guys to get healthy. You don't do that because this is your competition. The 49ers went after Bradley Chubb.
Yep.
The Seahawks have gotten significantly better, and they were similar to the Lions in not drafting any D linemen. Remember, they took a lot of shit for that, for not getting any pass rushers in the draft. So now since then they've brought in Frank Clark and Leonard Williams. The Eagles have made a splash with Kevin Byard.
And
so
according to everything online, the Eagles are currently pushing to add another linebacker right now.
Yeah, so they're not done. That's who you're up against. Those are your 3 teams: Seattle, San Francisco, and Philly. And you haven't made a move. All 3 of them have. You better have something up your sleeves. I better see Max Crosby walk across the field at halftime today and put on a Honolulu Blue jersey. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a pass rusher. I'm expecting something from the interior or something on the outside. I want a corner. There's a whole wish list. I think they need a kicker. I think they need another running back. I think they need a corner. I think they need an end. I think they need a tackle. They might need offensive line help at this point. Regardless, a receiver. They might need Mike Evans. Make a play. Make a play, Brad Holmes.
And they don't have to go out and get. Obviously, they're not going to address every single position right now at the deadline, but they need to.
If you get 1 or 2 of those
correct,
spots,
you need to assess. You need to upgrade somewhere over the next 24 hours, or it was, honest to God, in my opinion, you squandered this away. There's rumors all over right now online that the Tennessee Titans are close to moving on from running back Derrick Henry for a second-round pick in next year's draft. If we're talking, right, if the value on some of these high-profile guys is low, even if it's going to be just for this year, just a playoff push, spend the draft capital, go out there and get what you need to get done. Because, again, the window to be elite in this league is only open for so long.
shout out to Bob real quick.
Hey, welcome, Bob.
We see you in the chat, Bob. We appreciate it.
I agree. Zolo's haircut is on point. Omar, it's Honolulu Blue. I know we don't like the name on it, but it is Honolulu Blue. I'm saving the good Honolulu Blue for the game tonight. Welcome, Angie, too. Angie has a big role tonight. So I guess they're doing some sort of pride flag thing there, and Angie was the one selected to hold the flag for national TV at the game. So shout out to Angie.
Just another on the long list of people that are going to be down there.
He is straight, for the record. But the flag thing,
We're still proud of you, Angie.
And
that's Dr. Angie, by the way.
That's Dr. Lalo. And Dr. Lalo also said that he will have Tip Ball's hat in hand for his appearance on national TV tonight.
Good.
So shout out to Dr. Lalo.
It's not a one pride, it's a pride flag.
I don't know.
Oh.
I think it is pride. But either way, we're happy about it. We love it. So outside of Derrick Henry, have we heard anything else that's semi-relevant right now? There's supposed to be a lot going on with the Broncos. Just before we move on, just a little update here before we keep going. The only other one that I've heard is that Surtain, there's been offers made for Pat Surtain.
Listen,
the Broncos
I don't give a shit what you're going to say. Everyone has a price. If Jeffrey Simmons went for, if Leonard Williams went for a second and a third, there's a price that the Broncos will move Surtain for. They're saying no.
Will anyone meet it?
No.
I don't think so.
Not that one. Not that one.
Will anybody meet the second rounder for Chase Young?
Yes. The Lions.
Will anybody trade for Deonta Foreman?
That's a tough one given where the injuries are that Chicago has, and I think they're going to be very reliant on their run game while Titty Badgent's still starting.
Titty Badgent. Shout out to Titty Badgent. Real good showing last
So at the moment, no. I don't think so. But it's more of a Chicago thing. But here, listen, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
and
you're
I know
good.
I startled you.
No, you're
but
good.
There were talks on Jalen Johnson for a long time with Chicago. And then they said, we're not trading him. He said, I want to stay. And we're working on an extension. Well, now Jalen Johnson's back in the picture.
Correct.
Everyone has a price. That league is filled with whores. It's filled with general managers that'll do anything for draft picks. Okay? Someone's going to pay a price for one of these dudes. And I just think the shit's going to... Listen, everyone waited all week. Everyone waited and waited and waited because everyone was in it. For the most part, everyone was like, listen, that we're 8 weeks in and there's no defeated team and there's no undefeated team now. And there's so many teams in the wild card pictured in both conferences, AFC and NFC, to the point where everyone was waiting to see how the market was going to shake out, if their team's still in it. A lot changed this weekend. So I think you're gonna see movement.
a lot of teams that were supposed to be really good looked really bad this weekend.
Agreed, 100%.
One other thing here before we move on. Currently, the Jaguars are in hot pursuit of Patriots defensive end Josh Uche.
That's who I want. It's another guy I wanted here.
And as far as the Patriots go, I still follow every Patriots reporter on Twitter that I possibly could from the Brady era.
Running out of breath.
They are shopping Juju, Hunter Henry, Devontae Parker, and Ezekiel Elliott within the next 24 hours.
Those are some names. The best ones, Josh Uche. Top of the wish list for the Lions. Like I've already said it's pass rush help. If you get someone to complement Aiden Hutchinson on the other side, another disruptive guy to close the pocket on whatever quarterback they're going against, someone with length, someone with freaky athleticism, that's huge. And Josh Uche fits that bill. Max Crosby fits that bill. The two leaders in the NFL in pressures right now are Aiden Hutchinson, then Max Crosby, then Chase Young. Two of those guys could be up for grabs. If it's only a second for Chase Young, make that phone call. Make the phone call. Because it'll convert to sacks, even if the numbers aren't there with Chase Young.
100%.
Those pressures playing with Hutchinson will convert to sacks.
Outside of that, the only other two names that I've seen connected to the Lions outside of the obvious ones were Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Mike Evans, which I don't think after Atlanta's loss yesterday, Tampa's going to sell anymore, were Hollywood Brown, which I don't like. But I almost want them to just do something, so I don't know if I would mind it. But I've never been a Hollywood Brown guy. Not in love with it.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Cam Perino in the chat. He's an Eastern Michigan Eagle. They just got $1 million from Max Crosby today.
Yes,
They're naming the field after him.
They did.
That's Silver Field, and he thinks the Crosby asking price is too high. He might be right. I don't give a shit. Trade the draft picks. Go get him.
Fuck them picks.
Yeah. I sent that to someone. The Les Snead. Listen, anyone saying, "Oh, the draft is in Detroit next year. We need the first rounders." If you have a clear path to win the NFC,
You don't give a shit where
fuck them picks.
Fuck them picks.
Fuck them draft picks.
Fuck them picks. And the other one, and I'm kind of surprised by this, is Delvin Cook.
That's weird.
That's weird.
They're still in it.
Yeah.
I think
They
there's
haven't
a
used
scenario
him,
where
though.
they could utilize him properly still. I just don't know what it is currently, the way Breece Hall's running. That's my 2 cents on that.
Okay. Should we get into the game?
Yeah.
All right. So, tonight, obviously, our Detroit Lions are hosting the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football, 10 minutes from here at Ford Field. Detroit is a touchdown favorite, a 7-point favorite. The over-under in this game is 46.5. Real quick, we're going to go over the injury report. Amon-Ra St. Brown popped up yesterday, questionable with the flu. Don't think that's going to be an issue.
He's too much of a dog to let something like that happen. I think I'm not saying like flu game vibes. I'm not saying, oh, he's going to pop off tonight. But he's not missing Monday Night Football at home. Not for this team. He's one of the guys. He's been here since day one for this rebuild. And tonight's I'm not guaranteeing Lions wins or anything like that, but tonight's a coronation, and I don't think Amon-Ra is going to be the one to miss Monday Night Football at home for the first time in 5 years because of the flu. It's just not going to happen. Mahomes played in a snow bowl with the flu yesterday.
So the other thing is Adam Schefter just came out. He tweeted 2 minutes ago that, sorry, the Alani News giving me the agenda. He is playing. So Amon-Ra is playing today.
Yeah.
Other injuries look out for. Obviously, David Montgomery is not playing. Offensive lineman Jonah Jackson is not playing. Frank Ragnow is doubtful still with a toe injury.
From what I understand, they're testing Ragnow pregame. They're going to see what the deal is. He's had issues. Is it the toe or is it the calf?
So,
because his toe has been perpetually injured for 2 years now.
On the official report, it says toe.
Okay.
But the calf is also an issue. From everything that I'm reading online, the calf is an issue, but the toe is what's on the report.
He's also a dog.
Correct.
So I can see a scenario where he plays. But listen, if he doesn't, you're moving. It's going to be Graham Glasgow in the middle. He played center at Michigan. He's played center for the Lions before, too. So Graham Glasgow is going to slide into the middle. Is Vaitai on the injury report?
Vaitai is on the injury report, questionable.
So
we haven't gotten an answer on
that's where it gets tricky because you might be down 3 of your intended starting interior linemen, all 3 of them. You got your tackles, it's the best tackle tandem in the league, in my opinion. But you got your tackles, but you need the interior lineman in a game like this because that D front isn't slouch worthy. You know, you want to be able to effectively run the ball, and to do that, you're gonna need your guards. That's just my 2 cents.
Also,
that's the second time I've said I'm done saying that's my 2 cents. By the way, I'm sorry for saying it.
You got a few cents to spare today. We're good. The Lions also just elevated a running back for
Divine Ozigbo.
Yep, he is officially on the active roster. Other guys questionable tonight: Malcolm Rodriguez with an ankle injury, and Josh Paschal.
Malcolm Rodriguez's injury is interesting because they haven't been able to find snaps for him at linebacker because Derek Barnes and Anzalone have been playing so well. They obviously drafted Jack Campbell in the first round, and he's gotten some good play there. So they put Malcolm Rodriguez for, I think it was only 1 snap. They put him at fullback on Sunday.
I saw that, yep.
And very curious because you might need a fullback tonight.
For the Raiders, linebacker Divine Diablo is out. Questionable. Daniel Carlson, the kicker, so that's a big one right there, and cornerback Nate Hobbs, who's one of the better ones. Outside of that, that's the injury report.
Jimmy G playing.
Jimmy G is playing. He's active. No restrictions according to the Raiders for tonight's game. So we have a 7-point spread here. Lions are a 7-point favorite. First, how does that make you feel? Second, what are your thoughts? What are your predictions for the game?
With these injuries, I feel that's a lot of points.
You do.
I do. With David Montgomery and with the guards gone, I feel that's a lot of points. That being said, I don't think the Raiders, regardless of if they're at full capacity, are that good. I don't think they effectively run the ball. The Lions' defense effectively stops running the ball. So that's one of their go-tos. They're not going to be able to do it. I think you're going to see a lot of Jacoby Myers in the middle today. I think you're going to see a ton of Michael Mayer, the rookie out of Notre Dame. I think they're going to game plan for him. I also think you're going to see a lot of Devontae Adams, which is typical. It's par for the course. They love to feed him at Ford Field. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. But in obvious passing downs, I just don't see Jimmy Garoppolo being effective enough to move the ball downfield if they need to.
I don't either, yeah.
I love the concept of the Lions being strong early. I think this is a rare game where they might start with the ball. And if that's the case, if they start with the ball, you go down and score. If you can control the tempo the entire game, whether it be if you don't start with the ball and you force a 3 and out to start the game, or you get your defense off the field, go down and score, whatever. If the Lions grab the lead and they are able to maintain it, it's going to be really tough for Jimmy Garoppolo to play from behind.
So one of the big stories in this game is obviously Josh Jacobs, who hasn't really been all himself yet this year. 2.9 yards per carry, only 2 touchdowns on the year. And you have a Lions team that's one of the best in the league right now against the run, only allowing sorry, I lost my spot here. Only allowing 76 yards on the ground per game. That's second best in the league. Do we think they're going to be able to get him going tonight against this Lions defense?
No, because every team has been able to stop Josh Jacobs. He's gotten some reps in the red zone, and then he's converted some touchdowns in the last couple weeks. I really don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen tonight. I just don't.
This is where we miss Uncle Sam, because he would Josh Jacobs.
Oh, Jacobs is. I think after they got their assholes punched last week in Baltimore by Justice Hill, I don't see a scenario where Josh Jacobs doesn't pound it down their throats.
They got their asshole punched. Oh, I do miss the asshole punch right now.
Angie, I don't know about Anytime TD, but 2 props that I love tonight that I've been pushing. I love Sam Laporta's receptions over. I think it was at 4 or 4.5. I could see Laporta going off for a big game tonight. He's due after last week, and he's healthy, more importantly. And number 2 is Jacoby Myers has been their number 1 receiver, and he is a target monster. Can you look up Jacoby Myers' targets for me when you get a chance?
Yeah, so the over tonight on Laporta is 4.5 receptions.
Yeah, so over 4.5.
48.5 yards.
I even like that, I think, too. But for sure, the 4.5 receptions. And then in terms of Jacoby Myers, he gets more targets than Devontae Adams somehow.
Jacoby Myers on the year, 37 receptions, 385 yards, 5 touchdowns. Compared to Devontae Adams, he's only ahead by 9, 46 receptions, 528 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But a lot of that, the meat of the numbers for Devontae Adams came in the first 3 games of the year, whereas it seems like the offense has transitioned into definitely more heavy towards Jacoby Myers as of late. If you want an anytime touchdown scorer for tonight,
Josh Reynolds.
I was actually going to go.
I was going to say Jahmyr Gibbs.
I was
This could be-
strangely thinking that as well.
This could be a massive. I mean, we've said this so many times.
I know.
So many times, but this is the one that's really shaping up because on paper, this team really can't stop the run. They have no idea how to load the box. Their linebackers are ineffective against the run. Their interior line has not been great against the run. So that's a good one, Jahmyr Gibbs. This could easily be the Jahmyr Gibbs coming out party. I'm just really hesitant with all of those Lions interior linemen out.
That's the thing.
With all the guards out. But I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be, I think they can get creative and utilize him in the backfield. I think there's a lot of ways to make it work tonight with Jahmyr Gibbs.
I think that Gibbs, if he's going to score the touchdown tonight, I think it's honestly going to be through the air. I think tonight could be a massive Jared Goff game.
Real quick, Cam said in the chat, only 2 games where Jacoby Myers hasn't gotten over 10 targets. If he converts on half of those, he hits his over tonight, probably. If it's over 5.5, I mean, I could see a scenario where he eats. They just do crossing routes and, third down, they should throw it short of the sticks, the Josh McDaniels special.
Well, okay, according to who should I pick here? We'll go
someone notable. But don't say their names because they don't sponsor us.
Okay, we'll go off of a very notable sports book that has a casino downtown.
Wink.
Jacoby Myers, over 61 receiving yards, over 6 receptions.
I like the over 6 receptions. If you can move it to 1 below, that's great. Lions corners haven't been great. I would assume Cam Sutton is going to be shadowing Devontae Adams. Well, I don't know about shadowing, but he's going to get more of the reps with Devontae Adams. So whoever it is in the slot, if it's Jerry Jacobs, I'm a little finicky. But if it's Brian Branch,
you can find 4.5 and 5 on receptions.
I agree.
If you look hard enough, you can find it. I just did pretty quick. How do you feel about Sam Laporta tonight?
Big, yeah. And he's due. He's one of their pieces they've been showing off all year. He's very effective at home. You know who's the most effective player on the Lions team at home, though? It's Jared Goff. It's Jared Goff. His splits, his home versus road splits are insane. And I think this is a big game that Jared Goff could go off in.
There was a lot of talk last week about the tight end for the Raiders, actually, Michael Mayer, who's also who was a second-round pick in last year's draft.
Out of Notre Dame, so he's probably gay.
Him, Manti Te'o. Do we think the Lions have been iffy against tight ends so far this year? How do we think he has a nice game tonight? How do we think the Lions contain him? Because he's starting to heat up just a little bit.
Again, one of the MOs of this Lions coaching staff is when they get, shout out to Uncle Sam, when they get their assholes popped, They always
Asshole
rebound.
punched.
When they get their assholes popped, they always rebound the next week. And they counter it with a really good performance. Now, I thought they were bad on both sides of the ball last week. There was a lot to dislike. And I think they're going to be well prepared and well prepped, in which case the group on the defense that I'm looking for to have the best game, or to have the biggest bounce back game, I should say, is the linebackers. And that would be bad news for Michael Mayer. I'm looking for Jack Campbell to play angry and have no issues covering tight ends or Josh Jacobs, whoever it is he's covering today. And I'm looking for Anzalone to also be angry as a leader on that defense. So I think that that's going to fare very poorly for Michael Mayer, because that's one of the areas where they needed to improve on for certain. 100%, one of the biggest holes last week was the linebackers. They all played bad. We talked about it. Jack Campbell looked lost. Anzalone finally had a bad game after putting up monster performance after monster performance. So defensively, because I think the linebackers are going to circle back to how they've been all year, I don't think that bodes well for Michael Mayer. But he's going to get his fair share of targets, in my opinion.
Okay. So, I mean, we have to pick this now.
Wait, hold on. There's one battle I'm extremely looking forward to.
Let's hear
We
it.
talked about it before the show.
Go.
At some point, we're going to get Max Crosby versus Penei Sewell. Max Crosby, like I said, is top 3 in the National Football League in quarterback hurries. It hasn't converted as well to the sacks this year, but obviously he's a sack monster. He has been. And then conversely, Penei Sewell gives up the least quarterback hurries for offensive tackles, and he hasn't given up a sack the entire year. So to watch those two, when we're lucky enough to see those two go against each other, it's to the point where it's a game in itself. It's a game within the game, and it's going to be really fun to watch. And even if Crosby's going up against Taylor Decker too, that's going to be fun, because all 3 of those names that I just named are really competitive, crazy bastards that take the game seriously. They're 3 captains, all 3 of them, and they've been there for their team's lows and their team's highs. So they're going to want to protect whatever it is that they have going on, and they're going to play their asses off. And Max Crosby in particular, it's a homecoming for him. He's not necessarily from here, but he grew up a Lions fan, went to college here, and I think he's going to ball out tonight. I think Max Crosby's going to try and he's going to try at least to have a hell of a game. So I'm really looking forward to Crosby versus Penei Sewell tonight.
Less than 24 hours, they could all be teammates.
Agreed.
Well, some more things are happening with the trade deadline. It seems like.
Speak.
But I'm excited to see Aiden Hutchinson tonight. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo, as we have seen, makes awful decisions when he's constantly under duress. He's been battling a foot injury all year. He cannot literally get out of the way to save his life right now. I think that the Lions have a defensive front, has a big game tonight. And honestly, I don't think Garoppolo is able to get anything going at any point. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think the Lions handle this one pretty easily. The only thing I'm scared of in this, I have no issue with the Lions -7. I have an issue with this over-under, because I just don't know how many points the Raiders are going to be able to manufacture tonight. I agree with Zolo. I don't think that Josh Jacobs is able to punch anyone's asshole against this Lions front. And I think Garoppolo honestly looks pretty shitty. I easily see Aiden Hutchinson coming out of tonight with multiple sacks and really getting his numbers up. I think this is a Lions all the way. I think we are ending the second sector of the season with the Lions fans very happy, losing 2 games, going 3-1 in both sectors of the year. I think it's a huge win on Monday Night Football in front of a national crowd to kind of reinvigorate some of that Lions hype that got deflated last week after that blowout loss to the Ravens. I'm going Lions all the way tonight. I'm taking a -7. I'm going to go under. And I don't know why, but I just am. I just don't think the Raiders are going to be able to manufacture all too many points tonight.
Yeah, and I also think the Lions might struggle a little bit to score some points too, at least to start. I think eventually their offensive line will do its thing, similar to Michigan, where they just grind down opposing defenses. It's just a matter of how effective the Lions can run the ball. If they could run the ball effectively tonight, they probably will score a lot of points, and the Raiders won't. They'll control the entire game. And I think that the Lions will probably cover that -7 with no issue. At the moment, the way this team is banged up, I don't see it. But I'll tell you what we haven't talked about that's going to be a major factor tonight, more than usual.
Let's hear it.
The crowd.
Oh,
This is a coronation tonight.
yeah.
I'm not guaranteeing a Lions victory. Oh, the Lions are going to fucking smoke them out and kick them. No, I don't think that at all. But the crowd is a big deal. Joe Buck is already talking about it on Twitter, and he's calling the game. This is the first Monday Night Football game since 2018 when Sam Darnold threw the pick six at the beginning of the game to Quandre Diggs, and then everything just went south after that.
That was one of the most electric, loud, crazy, rabid stadiums that I heard, though, was when he threw that interception.
Same. Yep. So for me, it's still the peak moment, which I've talked about before on the show, was Javid Best in 2011 against Chicago. But similar to that game, this like you said before the year, this game was circled. This is the one. Which game do we want to get tickets for? It was this one. This is the one. I know more people going tonight that I've ever known going to a Lions game. People that I know can't stand football are going tonight. And some may say, oh, it means they're not going to make noise. No. That environment tonight's going to be infectious. It's going to be feral. It's going to be rabid. I think that the crowd is going to play a huge factor. And it goes back to that conversation. 4 segments. The season's divided into 4-game segments. That's 16 of the 17 games. Whatever happens in the last one's on you. They went 3-1 in the first one. This is a chance to go 3-1 in the next second segment, to go 6-2. No Lions team in my lifetime has started. Well, they came close, I think, once. They may have been the 2017, but the year before they went 0-18 or 0-16. I think the 2017 may have started 6-2. But even the 2011 team that started to turn it around.
2011.
Okay.
6-2.
They went 6-2. They lost 2. They started out 4-0. They lost 2 in a row, and then they came back. And I think there was a Monday night game. Oh no, the Monday night game was their last win before they won Monday night to go 4-0, and then they lost to Jim Harbaugh and the Niners to go 4-1. Regardless, I really think this is a coronation tonight. I think the crowd is going to reward the team for how they've played in the first part of the year. And I'm hoping that it's enough to spur on Brad Holmes enough to do some damage tonight. To see, listen, we're going into the bye. Let's get a guy in here and get him up to speed so he's ready to go for the Chargers game in 2 weeks. And let's get this thing going. This is like, we'll talk about it on Wednesday's show, but the NFC is wide open.
Wide open.
I still think Philly's got 2 losses in them going forward. I don't think they're that great. The Niners have lost 3 in a row. Somehow Seattle is now the threat, and I don't even think that they're that good. And I think if the Lions add enough pieces and they get healthy enough, you can beat Seattle. There is still a path, regardless of what happened last week in Baltimore. If there's one thing we know about this league, it's that anything can happen on any given day. And there is still a path for the Lions to get a 1 seed and host a home game, not just a home game, but have the road to the NFC go through Ford Field.
Yeah, right.
Which is what Seattle was thinking today.
We're second in the NFC right now. We're second in the NFC. All right, so every game matters. This one counts, and I think they handle their business. Just jumping real quick, San Francisco is, I like to say, fraudulent. They're fraudulent at the moment. They look fraudulent at the moment.
I agree.
They had us all hosed the first 5 games because it was a complete collapse. Minnesota had a nice little run there. Unfortunately, Kirk Cousins' season's over. His Achilles flew out of his leg mid-game last night.
Let me stop you. At the minimum, losing this division would be an all-time choke job. At the bare minimum.
Oh, if the Lions lose this division, that's the ultimate SOL choke job. You can't ever have faith again.
The Bears have 2 wins and no quarterback. He's not playing again next week. The Packers have a quarterback. He has not looked good. They haven't done anything. And I don't even think that Vikings team that beat them yesterday at home is that good.
No, I agree with you.
So the Packers aren't shit. Obviously, Minnesota is down their 2 best players. And again, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Again, you've heard me say this. I'm a huge Michigan fan. I think Kirk Cousins is a bitch. That guy, that quarterback show made me absolutely love him. He's a great personality. He's a great locker room guy. His teammates love him. He balled the fuck out all year this year. He was putting together, and this is saying a lot for Kirk Cousins because he's had some good years. He was putting together a massive year without Justin Jefferson the last couple weeks too. So shout out to Kirk Cousins. That's a huge loss. It's actually really sad. I hope we see more from him in his career. Doesn't look like it's going to be in Minnesota. But shout out to Kirk Cousins. You balled out really hard. Credit to you. But there we go. Minnesota, you're out of the picture. I don't know. I don't even know who the wild card teams are besides Dallas and Seattle. Okay, two of Seattle and San Francisco are getting in.
Correct.
2 of Dallas and Philly are getting in. The Lions are getting in.
And then probably 2 of the NFC South.
Probably 2 of the NFC.
Unfortunately,
and those are none of those teams are good.
Unless the only you'd have to have a sneak in, right? And the only way I could see a third team sneaking in would either be somehow if the Rams pull themselves back together after Dallas, and I don't think that's happening.
It's not happening. Stafford's probably out this week.
And I'm going to say this real hesitantly, in watching that Washington-Philadelphia game yesterday, as much of a shit bucket as Ron Rivera is, and as much as they had that game locked up and choked it away, there is still a little bit of life in that Washington team, and somehow they might finish one game better than whoever the second best team in the NFC South is. Doesn't look likely. It could happen, though.
Regardless, you can beat the hell out of the NFC.
You could easily finish second in the NFC without thinking twice.
You know you might have issues with Seattle because they beat you at home, and now they're gunning for you. You said the Lions are tied for second. Well, the team that they're tied with has the tiebreaker, Seattle.
Yeah.
So you got to be really wary there. You know that Seattle might be better than you. You know that Philly might be better than you, and you know that San Francisco might be better than you. Go make moves to put your team in position to beat those 3 teams.
Yeah,
and you could do this.
Right now, they're tied. It's a 3-way tie for second between Dallas, Seattle, and Detroit. And you want to talk about an important game. When they play Dallas later in the year, that might be the game that's going to decide all of their standing. You know, because one thing you don't want to do is have to play Dallas the first round of the playoffs at Ford Field.
It's just 2011 all over again.
It's shaky. It's really shaky. That's not a team that you ever want to play because they get calls because it's America's shithole team.
I'd rather play Seattle than Dallas in a playoff situation.
I want AFC South second place. That's what I want.
You want either Desmond Ritter or Baker Mayfield?
We're 1 win away. The Lions are a win in New Orleans on December 3rd away from sweeping that division. So no matter who it is, I feel good about it. So please, whoever you are, NFC South second team, well, please get the job done. Win some games. Get to 9-7 or whatever it is, 9-8.
Just to chime in with Dan here, who's talking about the AFC South, who's going to finish in second, the Texans or the Titans. If I had to place a bet right now, I'm going to go Houston. I think still. I'm going to go. But
I mean, tomorrow.
We'll talk about this Wednesday. But Will Levis did look like he invigorated that team a little bit. Couple little rumors. There's a lot of rumors flying around the Twitterverse today that Arizona may be moving on from Kyler Murray, and obviously the destination that everybody brought up was Minnesota. The Arizona higher-ups have come out and said they will not be making a move that involves him at the deadline. Again, as Zolo said, anything is possible, and if everybody has a price, I can't see them moving on from Kyler Murray at the deadline.
No, and someone, good friend of mine, George Thomas, who comes into the chats all the time, sent me a great article about how the Cardinals feel about Jonathan Gannon and how the team just plays so hard every week. And I am excited to see, I know Gannon's a defensive guy, but I'm excited to see what Jonathan Gannon does for Kyler Murray's confidence and for his career. And I know they're high on him, the Cardinals. Kyler Murray's a good quarterback when he's healthy. Go get him a weapon. Go get him Marvin Harrison. Go get him something. And let's see what he does in the next year or two before that contract's up. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, you're the team that took a quarterback in the first round in the top 10 2 straight years. Just do it all over again. But see what you got in Kyler Murray first, because I truly think we don't know. We've seen him pretty good. I think there's more to give in Kyler Murray's tank. That's just my opinion.
One more thing. The Rams are possibly putting Matthew Stafford on IR as early as tomorrow.
See ya.
So that crosses out any sort of hope for the Rams going forward, because that was abysmal this weekend. But we're going to do a full recap Wednesday of all of the weekend games. We're all heading down to the game tonight, so we needed to keep this as timely as possible. And the Lions usually take up about 45 minutes of our time, which we're at 42 minutes already. So that has been accomplished.
Lions to win the over, Lions to win the under.
You're you feel good with the under too?
I do. And at the moment, At the moment, I like the Raiders to cover. It's going to be some sort of backdoor cover.
A field goal. From
From whoever the
whatever
backup
Uncle
kicker is.
Sam
They
take.
called the backup kicker up, so I doubt Carlson
That's an unk
plays.
take.
Yeah.
But I think some sort of backdoor cover that moves it within 6 or 5 or whatever, and the game ends like that.
Bruce, you want to make a pick?
The Lions and the over.
You're gonna go over, eh?
I'm gonna go over.
Hey,
I gotta be the odd man out, right?
if you need anything, that should to give you all the confidence you need in the under tonight.
If you're going to
what-
the game, and you don't go to games very often or whatever, tonight should be really special, really special. Sam is going, which he never goes. I mean, I know he went to one earlier, but Sam rarely goes to games.
See, I like to
Used
go
to
to
have
either,
season tickets.
I like to go to either Thursday night games or Monday night games because there's few joys in life like sitting on your couch all day and watching Red Zone. But this was one was circled. You have to. If Detroit is a Monday night game, you have to go.
So it's going to be really crazy there tonight. It's going to look cool when it's dark out. It's already getting dark right now.
Devils. Night.
I think it's going to be really loud. I think it's going to be rivaling that 20. It's for sure going to be louder than it was at the beginning of the year against Seattle, and I think it's going to rival that Monday night against Chicago loud. So if you're going, make a lot of noise, make as much noise as you can, enjoy it, savor it. Hopefully they deliver a win for us because this town deserves it. It's been the theme all year. This is the Lions team that we deserve. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the product on the field tonight. I think it should be special. Color Rush, Silver Color Rush. We got that new helmet.
Yeah,
We get the new helmet tonight, blue helmet. Should be fun. So just enjoy it if you're going.
I'm thrilled. I'm excited. I'm over the moon. These are the games that define Detroit sports. I mean, I was in Tampa 2 weeks ago, and it was a 50-50 split between Tampa fans and Honolulu Blue. And every time the Lions needed Lions fans to get up and scream and be loud, they were there. I expect the same thing tonight. I think there was something about how a couple weeks ago they almost broke the Ford Field decibel record. There's a bunch of people expecting that to happen tonight. It should be one of the best atmospheres that we've seen at Ford Field in a long time. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. If you're going to be there, look for us. We'll be around. Bruce, anything to add? I don't have Uncle Sam. I got to throw it to you. Anything?
There was something I forgot. Fuck.
Who's going to the game tonight with you, Bruce?
Family members. Ooh, if
Oh,
you're
shout
going
out
to the game,
Joseph.
if you're going to the
Congratulations
game-
on going back to our alma mater to speak to the youth. That
4
was
words.
make sure you wear your
Sold
Halloween
by
costumes.
Joe Z.
sold by Joe V.
Oh shit.
There it is. Did you say make sure you wear your Halloween costumes?
Yeah.
The last thing we need is a bunch of drunk people inside of a stadium.
Everyone's gonna be. A lot of people are.
What
gonna
are
be
you
wearing
dressing up as tonight?
Nothing.
Himself.
An asshole?
A Lions fan, exactly.
Ass
an
cheeks.
That's
Ass cheeks.
Shout out to Sal on that one.
Should we do?
Uncle
should we
Sal.
do who's getting the asshole punch of the week this week? Josh McDaniels, because he's gonna lose his job after this fucking
Maybe.
pummeling that he takes.
Maybe.
Asshole punch of the week, Josh.
I don't think he
McDaniels.
loses his job if they lose.
Might not. Well, anything to add? Or I mean, that was perfect
I'll save everything I have to add for Sunday. Or for our recap.
for Wednesday.
For Wednesday, yeah.
Okay. So again, this was our Lions preview episode. Big game tonight. If you're going, be loud. If you're watching it at home, be there with us in spirit. We'll be back Wednesday. Obviously, did not do our full recap like we usually do on Mondays because we needed to spend some time on this. Get back with us on Wednesday. We'll be live 4:30. You know where to find us. Come back. We're going to recap tonight's game, and we're going to recap the entire slate. It will be a massive Wednesday episode, unlike we have done yet this year, because Wednesdays are usually our slow episode. Wednesday will be just the most perfect
Not the
Wednesday.
past 2 weeks.
What do you mean?
Sam's been going off on Wednesday.
Well, yes. Hopefully we can save the tangent about the 80s and the Dolphins and all the above for Friday. So we
Dan
can
Marino.
actually get through. It could end up being a 3-hour episode if we let him get off on his tangent.
The tank is requesting. I don't know who she's.
I don't think it picked it up.
Will you bark for us? Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, check us out on YouTube. Remember to subscribe so you know when we're going live, and join us in the comments because it's always a great time there. Shout out to everybody who joined us today. We love you. Some of you we'll see tonight. Good luck, President Baker, anytime touchdown scorer. Thank you so much for listening. Come back Wednesday, because it's going to be a full recap, a Sunday recap, a Monday recap, and a Thursday preview. Thanks so much for listening.